Amber Perry is the person you want protecting you before it's too late. She has seen and heard the personal stories of so many people who didn't have the right insurance and it devastated their future. But that can be prevented. Amber Perry, owner of Amber Perry Insurance Company, is joining us now to help all of us. It's so great to have you here, Amber.
Thank you.
You really enlightened me last time, and you made sure that everything that was covered with my family, you kind of talked me through it, you know, what we need to be looking for in terms of gaps. That has to do with umbrella insurance, right?
Right.
So, okay, so why is umbrella insurance so important? And you've heard people who have been impacted by this.
Absolutely. So umbrella insurance, just in case you don't know, is excess liability on top of the liability limits for your auto and your home. So if you don't have enough coverage, the umbrella policy can then kick in to help prevent you from a personal lawsuit, attorney fees. So I have had some client stories to help people understand the importance of it. I had a family that was new to me. They came and they had 2 teenage sons, and we did an asset review to determine where their liability limits should be. We found out they were extremely underinsured and didn't have the proper coverage, so we increased their liability limits. We added the umbrella policy for them, and about 6 months later they called and said that one of their teenage sons was pulling out of a convenience store, turning right, and looked to the left for oncoming traffic. And, you know, inexperience didn't teach him to look to the right as well, and he thought he could make it. He gunned it into traffic, and there was an elderly woman walking across the driveway who must have thought that he saw her, and he ended up hitting her, and tragically she didn't she didn't survive. Excuse me. And so the family ended up getting sued by the daughter of that elderly woman, and after the attorney fees and what they ended up suing them for, if they had not had that umbrella, that family told me it would have completely financially devastated them. So they were so thankful that we had gone through and took the time to look at that. And on the flip side, I've had people that didn't take the umbrella that I recommended. I had another client that they were underinsured extremely, and I mentioned to them, we need to go ahead and do this. I think it was a difference of $25 a month. And they said, well, we just want to think about it. And they didn't end up taking the umbrella. And within a year's time, they called me. They had been in an accident. It was their fault. Their liability limits were not enough. That person got an attorney. They ended up suing them. They lost their retirement. They lost a portion of the equity in their home. They started garnishing their wages for a period of years. And this family was just completely financially devastated from this. And, you know, they told me if we had only taken that umbrella, the amount of the lawsuit would have covered it. They wouldn't have had any of that happen personally.
You know, we can't foresee the future. And this can happen to anybody, right? I mean, we've all had those near misses, you know, where you're backing out and you don't see somebody. Obviously, you're not being distracted. You can have a blind spot. That can happen. Right. So if you think that you might need this umbrella insurance or you don't know how to go about it, what would you suggest?
Yeah, so the most important part is having a insurance professional ask you certain questions. You want to know that that person has asked you, what is the equity in your home? What are the equity in your vehicles or recreation vehicles? What do you have for savings, investment, retirement accounts? You know, you can't be sued for your Social Security or your pension, but you can for a lot of the other type of investments that you have. And also a bigger one, a lot of younger people think, you know, I really don't have any assets, it doesn't matter. You have a rather large asset in your future income. They can garnish up to 25% of your income for a period of time or until you retire. And that could be hugely devastating to most people.
I'd never even heard of that before.
Yeah, so if your insurance professional hasn't asked you these questions, if this is all new, then you're probably underinsured.
Right. I think a lot of us believe that it's like a cookie cutter approach. Okay, do you want car insurance? Okay, do you want homeowners insurance? But it's so much more broad than that. Does this cover medical, anything like that?
So it can cover your personal medical in the event that an uninsured or underinsured person hits you. You generally have some kind of uninsured, underinsured on your auto policy, and you can also add that to your umbrella. And that covers you if you're a pedestrian riding a bike, riding in someone else's car, the driver, the passenger. It can kind of follow you around as a person. So if you get injured and you can no longer work the job that you had, you can actually go after the umbrella policy for additional pain and suffering. If you know that you're now going to be out hundreds of thousands of dollars because of your injuries and the lifestyle you would have had that accident not happened, that umbrella policy can also help give you some income for your future.
Yeah, and you protect your family at the same time. A lot of us think, well, I'm not worried about myself, I'm not concerned about myself, but you really need to be thinking about your children and your extended family.
You really do. This kind of policy, you know, if you have the best intentions and you think, yeah, you know, that sounds good and we should probably do that, it doesn't help you if something happens and you never did it.
Right.
So it definitely can be a very important coverage to make sure that you add as you're building assets, and if you have assets, flip side, if you're retired, you have spent all this time working,
right,
and you're ready to retire and enjoy it. And there may not be that time that you get to enjoy it if something happens and you didn't properly cover yourself. You might be going right back to work.
Yeah, well, you have the expertise. You've taught us so much. Amber, so glad to have you here again. And right now, Amber Perry is offering a free umbrella asset insurance review. For more information, you can visit agents.farmers.com/aperry, or you can call 520-296-6532.